This is a panel discussion on the economy in War Thunder, and we'll be able to cover everything from Silver Lions and everything with regard to that, to Golden Eagles and other forms of monetization, RP, and pretty much anything that you spend in War Thunder will be on the table, even, War Bonds? So we could talk about each one of those things whenever we get the chance to. We'll go ahead and start with the first topic Puma Tato brought up first. And Parrot Bird was quick to answer, "No, you. What even is this chat for?" Which is the official christening of the text channel that we're going to be running off of. But let's see. Puma's explaining what's going on. Mr. Steve Gamer said, "The Lorraine is ruined, to be honest." So that's probably, I guess we can talk about Butler's comment after that, but that's probably a reference to its incredible repair cost. So with that, repair costs as a means of balancing vehicles. Thoughts? And just go ahead and raise your hand by lighting up that push to talk if you have something to say. Okay, Gustav.
My opinion is, that's kind of a bad way to balance stuff. It's just fix the VRs. Like the B-29, super fragile if you get a good plane up against it, but its repair cost is ridiculously high.
Okay. Yeah, that's a familiar thing. I can definitely relate to that feeling. Alt, you had something to say.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of how it was in the beta testing for ships. As we all remember, it was physically impossible to gain a new ship, and if you did the realistic battles at the time, right when they were released, the cost for the Krasny the first light cruiser, it was about 100 silver lions. But ever since then, they've slowly reduced it. But actually, I've realized they've actually made the destroyers more expensive with the repair costs.
I hadn't noticed that. So repair costs shifting around. It seems like, for the most part, they have a formula, and the European Canadian has covered that really well with his videos on the subject of changes in repair cost. And that's apparent in the tiny changes that you see in a lot of these logs. And then there are exceptions where they take a vehicle that would be extremely popular, except that they put a huge repair cost on it. And those tend to be things that are at the very top of their tier and otherwise difficult to balance BR-wise. So it seems that in lieu of putting them at a battle rating where they can't perform or where they're perhaps more balanced, they put a huge SL price tag on the repair and call it good. And technically you could make a profit off of those, but I've tried it out with a few vehicles, and especially stock. It's extremely difficult to not bleed lions as you play certain vehicles, and I think that's intended. It does have the effect of getting less people to play them and keeping the spam down, and I'm along the same lines as the person that said they'd rather not see that in the game, but rather better balancing overall, because again, the vehicle's still very powerful. It just costs Silver Lions to play if you don't do very well in it. Okay, that seems to be a pretty good summary of that topic. So let's move on. Butler said, "I'm surprised we didn't see a bunch of price reductions in Tier 6 like we did for Tier 5. And this would, of course, be before the before the announced price reductions. And how do you guys feel about that? Is it time to see reduced costs for purchasing vehicles in terms of Silver Lions in the regular tech tree?"
If you want, I could pull them up right now on the thing. I have all the charts here.
I have a link here. I'll go ahead and put it on screen just for the video. And thoughts on that? I mean, I think that the general consensus is inflation has been hitting War Thunder pretty hard, and I doubt that anyone would be against having prices go down for the majority of vehicles. Does that seem about right? I'll take your continued dead silence as affirmation. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. Ooh, Puma said, I think we should also discuss the rewards multipliers and the changes they're making to them. So, we now know that some vehicles will have changes to their reward multipliers, and there have been other videos talking about the trend in the War Thunder economy. If I go into the hangar right now, you'll see that most ground vehicles especially suffer from this. Around mid-tier, you start seeing some rather low numbers for the reward, 180% for a rank 2, and then we go into a rank 3 vehicle, and it's sitting at 225. I'm running premium, so it's actually 1.5. Not the best reward in terms of Silver Lions. And then you go to a 7.7 BR vehicle, and it's still at the same Silver Lions return, with a 9,000 there, and on this one it has a 2,000 Silver Line repair cost, so a significantly increased repair cost. For higher tiers, it costs Silver Lions to play, and you don't get any better reward for your effort taking part in some very competitive and challenging battles. That, personally, for me, can be disheartening. Anyone else with thoughts on the issue? And I'll jump back over to see if anybody's raising their hand real quick. Okay, Alt.
So I completely agree with you saying it's horrible. You feel like you're losing more than actually gaining when it comes to playing higher tiers. When it comes to the lower tiers, it's literally more fun to play the lower tiers when it comes to special rewards and stuff, because you're like, hey, I'm not losing as much as I'm actually gaining. So you actually will be gaining till, like, we'll say tier 4 till tier 7, which is now. You start losing more. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, that absolutely does. And for me, I know that about rank 3 is the most fun for me because it's not too challenging. There's enough of a challenge playing against people that things are interesting, but it's not the try-hard zone that top tier is. And when I do play top tier and I get piddly rewards for every action that I do, and then I pay a huge repair cost, even though I don't really worry about Silver Lions, I just play the game, it feels good to be making money, just like it does in real life. So I would love to see that change, and it looks like we are going to see a change. I'd love to see it be consistent, that even in a losing match, people can make Silver Lion progress, because there's that psychological aspect of it. People have a good time when they're getting ahead. Anyone else with thoughts on that issue? Okay, we'll move it right along. It sounds like we're just agreeing too much to have a lively discussion here. And I think this is something that needed to come for a long time. And it's really nice to see Gaijin moving in that direction. The more we can encourage them, the better. Let's see, KV2, 152mm communism launcher, said few things. That RP you have to pay Golden Eagles for, so convertible RP or accelerated research. And then he also wanted to talk about maybe having a silver talisman where you could get more Silver Lions, as opposed to the golden talisman we already have in the game where you get double RP, but it doesn't give you the double Silver Lion gain that a premium vehicle gives you. So first off, convertible RP. I guess the first question would be, is it too expensive? Thoughts on that? Go ahead, Alt, and then we'll do Gustav after that.
So you're saying instead of like a talisman, which will do the RP, you want a Silver Lions? Just make.
Well, that'll be the next topic. But did you have something to say about convertible RP? That's the RP you can pay Golden Eagles for. In other words, how do you feel about the current state of being able to pay to research things in the game?
Oh, okay. Now I completely get it, and I fully agree with this. Like, how the Golden Eagles for that, but also I think it's perfect, but I think they should be a bit more generous with because you are still spending real life money for the Golden Eagles, which gives you the RP. I think they should give you more out of it. Like if I remember correctly, we'll say 1,000 Golden Eagles. You'll get only maybe I'm looking at the ME410 B2U4. That'll probably finish it for me, which would be great. But then only halfway up for the next one, which I think it should do both of those, which should be around 62. So around more than 120 RP, I think it should do.
Yeah, I'm looking and I can get 2,000 RP for my 48 Golden Eagles, which is about half a battle's worth if I'm using premium vehicles. So I'm not sure how much that is in American dollars, but I honestly don't think that's worth my money. And researching top tier vehicles at hundreds of thousands of RP, even making a top tier lineup in cash monies, it costs in the hundreds of dollars, which seems crazy to me. But if the price goes lower, what happens? Probably more people will be paying through research, which one could make the case that that might not be good for the game. But is that a way for Gaijin to make more money? Statistically, that's worth looking at, probably. And then, I'm sorry, I wanted to call you Gunter. Let me go back to chat so I can see your actual name. Gustav. Sorry, Gunter is a character I've been playing in an RPG lately.
All right. So I think what they should do is instead of having convertible RP, they should make it more like free XP, like on World of Tanks or whatever, where you can spend money to get it, but you can put it towards any tank you want.
Okay, so you can correct me if I'm wrong here. It's been a while since I've played World of Warships, which is pretty similar. You gain free XP at a really slow rate, and I think a bit faster with premium vehicles. And then you can also pay to have more instead of gaining it through matches. And you can apply that without paying to any vehicle. And I think that a system like that could work for War Thunder. It would be different. And the question then is, what do people do with all of this convertible RP that they have that Gaijin was expecting you would have to pay money to convert? Will it just disappear, or will it be a separate system? That would definitely be one of the things that prevents that from being implemented right away, I'm thinking. Any other thoughts on that issue before we move on to the idea of a silver talisman? All right, I think we covered that one pretty well. I always do love it when I get to talk. Don't be afraid to raise your hands and give me some more perspective on the issue. So a silver talisman, the idea that instead of just getting double RP bonus from a vehicle, you could buy a separate talisman, perhaps at the same price, and essentially turn a regular tech tree vehicle, rewards-wise, into a premium vehicle. Personally, I find that really interesting, especially if it came with, say, halving the repair cost, which is a general trend in premium vehicles. Your thoughts on the issue? Feel free to raise your hands. Alt.
So I completely agree with this because a lot of us were like, we'll probably spend Golden Eagles to get maybe, let me look at the Golden Eagles. Maybe 630 for 1,500 Gold Eagles. But after that runs out, you're like, crap, I gotta make more and more now, and that's gonna take longer. Well, if you have a talisman on a plane, you have all this RP, and then after you get the aircraft or tanker, whatever that you're getting, you're like, I don't have enough money to get it. So I think you should be able to have the silver talisman as well when they put when they put it in the game, if they will, with the gold RP normal talisman, so you can get double the bonus and double the fun. So when we go back to our original question about the losing when you get up and up, you wouldn't actually be losing as much as you would originally without that silver talisman, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, and that's actually what I was going to bring up as a follow-up to your statement. Like I said before, I have fun when I'm making progress, and if I'm losing Silver Lions, I just feel like I'm not making progress, and it automatically makes things less fun for me. Imagine how many more vehicles you would have fun playing if they had the ability to print Silver Lions. And personally, I've never paid for Silver Lions. I've always just had some Silver Lion grinder that I use, but I would gladly pay for a silver talisman if it meant that, say, with the Kika, I could print Silver Lions. I love that little plane. It does make decent Silver Lion gains, but it's not a Silver Lion grinder. I would love to see it become one. And there's so many vehicles like the Narwhal that are just really awesome vehicles that are probably never have a premium variant in the game, and you could basically turn them into a premium variant. I honestly think these would sell like hotcakes. Gaijin would make a huge amounts of money off of Silver Talisman sales, and there's really, in my mind, there's no reason not to, because again, they're going to miss out a little bit on selling Silver Lions to people, but how many people actually pay for those? Probably just the people that pay for convertible RP, and if they're doing that, then they're already not grinding things out anyway. At least that's my opinion. Does that make sense? Any other thoughts on the issue?
I think SL talismans sound pretty good.
Yeah, I honestly am surprised Gaijin haven't implemented it yet. And if anything is holding them back, it's just the idea that they already sell Silver Lions individually, which, if you look at it from the outside, would be more profitable because it's a continual sales. But there's people like me that have never bought Silver Lions that would definitely shell out for a Silver Talisman. So, huge money-making opportunity. Let's get that to Gaijin. Next up, let's see. Ways to make getting GE easier. There are some ways in the game you can play in tournaments, which I've never played in a tournament, and the reason is I just want to have fun, and I don't think that would be fun. And there's also the Golden Eagle wagers, which are, they're free, and you get them every now and then, and I've just been stockpiling them because I'm not interested in, again, I want it to be fun, and for me, a Golden Eagle wager just makes me stress out. And there are other ways to get Golden Eagles without paying money, but in general, Gaijin makes it difficult to acquire GE for free for fairly obvious reasons. But for you all, thoughts on the accessibility of free GE? I think there was actually a free Golden Eagles app that you could do some ad things. Oh, your thoughts?
Okay, yeah, I was about to talk about that app. A lot of YouTubers would sponsor it, and I tried it. First of all, it was a huge fail because, one, it didn't work on iOS, only on Android, and a lot of people have iOS. I don't know if this is fully true, but from my perspective, more than Android where I live. So it was a huge loss for them, and I also tried the thing on my Android, and it did not work at all. It completely failed, and I think I don't know if Gaijin created it or who, but if Gaijin did want to create a way to add Golden Eagles into the game, they should do it as like the rewards. So when you get like $1,000 for and like those tickets to go to the inventory to get rewards.
Yeah. Are you talking about war bonds?
Yeah, kind of like when you get like a task and you get the reward, like 1,000 Silver Lions and 50 tickets or whatever.
Yeah, so daily tasks.
Daily tasks, yes, exactly. And then for the special tasks or the daily tasks, I think they should do it like they'll give you like a bit harder challenge than normal, and you'll receive maybe 100 Golden Eagles or something reasonable like that, but not too much and not too little.
100 Golden Eagles. That's kind of bold. I could see that causing some inflation in the Golden Eagle economy. Would Gaijin... So the question with that one is, how does Gaijin make money off of giving Golden Eagles directly to players? Because I don't know if you were aware of this, but I know a decent amount about the Golden Eagles app. I actually used it and got 250 free Golden Eagles by installing other apps on my phone and playing those games for a certain amount of time, and then I would get the Golden Eagles. You just got to read the descriptions. That's the way it was like 2 years ago, I want to say, and I spent those on a premium vehicle. But I mean, I mow lawns. I could go mow a lawn for $50, or I could work for 20 hours or more, getting $10 worth of GE. So I guess it's there, and not everybody lives in this privileged economy where you can go out and mow your neighbor's lawn for ridiculous amounts of money. I admit that. So it's nice to have that place for people that don't have access to easy ways to make fast cash. And the money that the Golden Eagles that Gaijin gave to the free GE app people, the app was an advertising app, and you would answer ads or play a game, which is a type of advertisement. And the companies that posted those ads on the app were paying the people that run the app the money that they used to buy Golden Eagles directly from Gaijin, and also to put money in their own pockets. Does that make sense? So that's how they paid for that. Gaijin was basically just selling Golden Eagles, and these people on their own had partnered with Gaijin and advertisers to get people to jump into ads and get a token amount of money out of it. And there's all kinds of ad apps and things you can get items and money and get scammed by as well. But as far as I know, the free EGE people are on the up and up. At least they were a couple of years ago. And there's also some other ways we talked about for getting free GE, but again, Gaijin tends to choke those pretty hard, so it's a lot easier to just spend money than it is to spend time to get free stuff. And by far the easiest way to get free things is the events. So with that, and the Gaijin Marketplace, what are you guys' thoughts on, is it too easy, or is it not easy enough to spend time in War Thunder and make a profit in terms of the stuff you would normally have to pay for? Puma, you were saying something. And also, if you were talking about something else and I was talking over you, just go ahead and say it now.
Okay, I did want to say it actually kind of touches on the market and the events. I think it would be nice to have some way to well, you can sell event vehicles on the market. It would be nice if you could also sell those for Golden Eagles directly in the game.
Well, you are aware that you can convert Gaijin coins into Golden Eagles, aren't you?
You can just edit that part out.
Okay, carry on.
That was actually the end of my point.
Oh, okay.
Bravo.
All right. Anything else before we move on to the next topic? Alrighty then. We have the European Canadians, a fantastic video on the economy changes that are coming to the game, and I posted a meme video about it just as a means of celebration, and I think this is really what has us all excited. And when it comes to that, it's nice to have a balanced perspective and just try and not expect too much from Papa Snail, because he's come home drunk and beat Mom before. So it looks like he's been going to rehab, though, and he's learned to love us like he properly should. And taking things from an economy perspective, generally a thriving economy is one where people feel like they have enough money to spend freely. And the way I've felt in the game is that every silver lion is precious, and I can't afford to spend it on just whatever I want to, even if I'm running a premium account. Every golden eagle is double precious, and I need to keep my grimy fingers wrapped around them. I honestly feel that a reduction in prices for everything across the entire economy in a balanced way, just enough to make people feel like they have money to burn, is very useful for building the community and turning a profit for Gaijin. But I could be wrong. Any of you thoughts? Feel free to raise those hands. So I guess I was a little bit vague. What percent would you like to see prices drop in the War Thunder economy in general? And this could be, you could list it out for Silver Lions and then Golden Eagles. What do you think is a sweet spot for those two? And then maybe even RP as well. Gustav, you were saying.
I would say maybe a 20% decrease in prices would be a balanced way of doing it. And obviously more for higher tiers, like if you're talking about like vehicle costs or repair costs or something. But talking about Golden Eagles, then yeah, price reduction would be needed, whether it be 10%, 20%, even up to maybe 30%, just to keep inflation.
Yeah, the subject of inflation when it comes to premium vehicles, whether they're bundles or Golden Eagles. Back when War Thunder was starting out, the way to buy into the project was rather expensive. It's almost like you were purchasing a full price game, and I wasn't around for that. But since then, the price of bundle packs and the Golden Eagle cost for vehicles continues to go up tier by tier, and vehicles that used to be top tier were selling for around $30, and now we see top tier vehicles just a year or two later selling for $50, $60, bundles for $70. And those are some seriously large numbers, considering that $60 can still buy you a new, well, what goes for a full release game these days. So seeing that drop by around 20%, again, would that encourage people to buy? I think so. I honestly think they would make up in volume what they lost in the price tag. But vehicles do go on sale. Bundles do go on sale for temporary sales, and those are definitely ways to get people's attention. God knows, Gaijin's got enough money out of me on sales to prove that method works. But overall, I think that a general price reduction to the tune of at least 10, as much as 20%, would probably still be profitable for Gaijin and the community. Anyone else with more thoughts on the general topic we just discussed? Alt.
No, I accidentally pressed it. I think you said it pretty well. I don't have any opinions on it because I'm not really. I don't really know that much about this.
Curse my eloquence, education, and just general swarthy demeanor. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on before I get too full of myself. I guess that's about it, honestly. Yeah, Pumateto with last, potentially. So, as we close, any other thoughts with the War Thunder economy? Again, I think the general consensus is having the cost in time or money go down would be good for the community, good for growing the player base and keeping people around, and that seeing a 10 to 20% reduction would help out Gaijin just as much when it comes to them making money to pay for the game, and more programmers! You have enough 3D modelers, they're doing great. You need more bug detectors, sir. But that's a topic for another time. And with that, guys, thanks for showing up. If you had any last thoughts, feel free to raise your hands. And Alt, as continuing the tradition from the last panel video, go ahead and give yourself your goodbye.
Salut!
All right, Gustav. Gustav, go ahead and sign off. Give us your goodbye.
All right, see ya.
See ya, fam. Pumateto, you're up.
I'm gonna be courteous and wait for Widowmaker.
Oh, how nice of you to be last. Widowmaker. Are you? Yeah, I think she's dead. She has died. Okay, Puma.
Actually, I'm a P61.
All right, Puma. Gender identifies as a P61C Black Widow, which now has access to radar, by the way. So enjoy that, Puma.
There were some great words exchanged here today. Let's do it again some
Absolutely. And as usual, first off, I'll plan another panel discussion for the next time I get some time. This one took a little bit longer to do than I planned on, but we had perfect timing. Now I just gotta edit this thing. And with that, catch you guys in the next video. And again, thank you to Alt, Gustav, Puma, and Widowmaker for showing up for this conversation. Bye-bye.